Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Brewing Local. It is great to have you here, and we are so excited to have our guest this morning with Good Pressure Brewing. This is a fairly new brewery and run by Erik and Shannon Fowler, and they're both joining us this morning, the co-owners of Good Pressure. Great to see you both. Thank you for coming today, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So Good Pressure Brewing, I had a chance to visit last week, and you've been only open for 6 months. But
yeah,
wow.
but it took you 6 months to get out there.
I know, it took too long. I will say, I'm so glad I got to come. And wow, I mean, already up and running, doing really well. Tell me, how's it been so far? Tell us about your brewery.
It has been so fun. The community around us has been immediately receptive.
Nice.
And we are just a neighborhood brewery right now, and we're looking to instill ourselves as a corner, as a third space for people to come hang out. And it's happened very quickly. We've been very grateful.
And I can tell you, just being in there, I got the perfect, I want to bring my kids here vibe. Is that okay, first of all?
Absolutely. Our goal is to be a family-friendly space. Erik and I have 2 young boys, so anytime we're looking to go outside of the house, we're always conscious of what is a family-friendly space, a kid-friendly space, and one where everyone can kind of be happy and get something out of the experience. And so that was very intentional about our taproom space as we were building it out, because we want family and friend groups and all sorts of people to come and feel welcome.
You could definitely tell. It is very welcoming. I saw kid art on the back wall, too.
Yeah, we ran a coloring contest a couple weeks back, and we try to say that we're a brewery for parents. We see you, we understand, the kids need something to keep themselves busy, and it's been a lot of fun, and coloring is a great way to do that.
Oh, yeah. It keeps them entertained while you can actually have a conversation. I think that's a big part of it all. We have some video to show you of the inside. You're right there on Mission Gorge Rd, and it is so easy to access. It's so easy to find. No traffic when I got there. Coming and going. Tell us about the people and what parts of town you've seen coming out so far. I mean, it's like literally from no matter what part of the county, I feel like you can get there very easily.
Yeah, we're probably 5 to 6 minutes from Snapdragon,
Awesome.
and also the same from San Diego State. We're about a mile west of the Mission Trails Visitor Center,
Yes.
so we're heavily influenced by the region that we're in, and try to reflect that in the styles of beer that we're brewing, the palate that we're brewing to, and the situations which we encourage people to drink our beer. We have our Good Pressure Blonde Ale, which you can kind of find a limited market in different stores and bars. But we call it a hiking beer.
Hiking beer.
Yeah.
After you go hiking at Mission Trails, right? That's a perfect one.
Yeah, Cowles Mountain's right there.
Yes. Is that the one I tried when I was there? That first sip I took, I was like, I want this after a hike. It must have been, right? Yeah. It's a good one. And it's very crisp and refreshing, which is what you want. Because obviously, as the summer heats up and things, you want something nice, light to cool off with, which is perfect. I'm so curious, too, for both of you, how this all happened. How did you decide, let's start a brewery together? Tell us.
Well, a lot of it stems, of course, from Erik's professional background.
Right.
He's been working in the craft beer and wine industry for over 15 years now. But as partners, as a couple, we always knew that opening a business is something that we wanted to do one day. And we had sort of gotten to the point in the last year and a half in both of our respective careers and where our family was at in terms of our kids getting a little older, that it felt like the time was right to really act on that and to kind of make that dream true. And so
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and the opportunity in the San Diego beer community right now is, there's a lot of negative press that's been on it with, the big breweries moving, changing ownership, and there's been a lot. And I think, through my work with the San Diego Brewers Guild, I really saw that there was so much focus on the positive and negative because San Diegans feel very personal about our craft beer.
We do.
And there's a lot of pride in it. And so, when a brewery changes hands or opens or closes, it gets a little more scrutiny than, say, the pizza shop down the street. Even though the model might be very similar and the impact might be similar, there's a lot of pride of San Diegans for that. And so right now, we felt there was a great opportunity, and it, location specific and where we opened up to really make an impact on the neighborhood around us. And, we feel like we've really been doing a good job at that so far.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that 6 months is like a baby, right? I mean, this is very new. And the fact that you've already created a name for yourself, people know what they're going to get when they come out there, some great beer and a nice, comfortable environment. That's really special. I mean, that says a lot. Obviously, your experience plays into it. So I'd love to talk about that, kind of how you were able to use, the knowledge you've had from the work you've done leading up to this now. What parts of those did you kind of take with you, I guess, learning along the way?
Yeah, so I've worked for a couple different breweries, but most notably was White Labs and White Labs Brewing Co., which is a brewer's yeast manufacturing company based in Miramar, San Diego-based company. But we had a plant in Asheville, North Carolina, in Copenhagen, and multiple breweries as well. So I gained a lot of technical experience through that, my multiple roles there, and really understood what beer quality meant. And then transitioning I was on the board for the San Diego Brewers Guild for a couple of years, and then became the executive director in a full-time role. And that allowed me to really look at the business side of it and work with a lot of people that I idolized, and really candidly one-on-one on how the guild could help support their business and see what their struggles were.
Right.
And so taking that technical side and understanding, for us at Good Pressure, beer is the what, not the why. And so, we want the what. We want the beer quality to be assumed it's going to be some of the best in the county. But the why is really the driving force that differentiates, a lot of breweries from others. And so we really hope focusing on the why and the community and, developing something that people resonate with and feel seen with, is kind of connecting all those dots from the technical background in brewing to the marketing, which Shannon brings a big set of experience into.
The marketing experience, so you come with that.
Yes, I myself have about 15 years of experience in the nonprofit marketing sector.
Right.
And so that's really what I'm bringing to the table behind the scenes is kind of our creative and visual identity, marketing and communications, and using kind of genuine organic storytelling to situate our brewery in this big sort of environment of San Diego craft beer.
Yeah, because how do you stand out? How do you make sure people know who you are in this world of near 200 or so breweries and tap rooms? We're going to talk more about some of that, the strategy, any mistakes maybe that you've learned not to do, to, kind of things like that. I'd love to ask you about too, with both of your experiences. So keep it here. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. All right, welcome back here. We are with the owners of Good Pressure Brewing. We have Erik and Shannon Fowler with us today. I want to talk about your years of experience in the craft beer industry, in marketing too, Shannon. I think all of that obviously plays such a role in your success. So I'd like to start with you, Erik, as far as what you were able to learn from, White Labs, from other breweries, and then as the president of San Diego Brewers Guild, that's a big role to have. Like you said, you got to talk to so many people in the industry, to learn from them. Tell me what things you really took away from that and now you're putting into your brewery.
Yeah, we're still young, so measuring success is tough. But in my professional experience, hospitality and people are really what make for a successful business. And hospitality isn't just the guests walking through the door. It could be an internal culture of the people you have working with you as well. And so one of our goals out the gate was to develop a team quickly that we could rely on and trust to help alleviate some of that. You can build an amazing business on paper, but people are going to make or break it. And so finding people and having able to let go of ego in the sense of you don't have to do everything all the time has really helped us from a personal and professional standpoint.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you would think you start a brewery, you're like living there, right? Have you figured out a way not to live there?
Physically,
go home?
I mean, we're always on a computer, we're always thinking about it, but we are fortunate that we've been able to balance it and have a great team to where we can pick up the kids from school.
Nice.
And be there when they need us to be there, because what our oldest said as we were building out is I think it really stuck with us is I didn't choose to open a brewery, and while we want them to see mom and dad's hard work over the next couple decades and hopefully appreciate that sometime, he's right, he didn't choose to live that, and so we need to respect other members of the family as well.
That makes sense. To be there for them when they need you, the things they choose they want to do, that kind of thing. That's very important. But obviously running a brewery takes, there's the part of the beer that I think so many people get into the industry because they love that. But that's not all it takes, right? What else goes into this? I mean, there's so many things you have to think about. Obviously, there's the finances. That part must be challenging for people like me. But
yeah,
tell me about that. What else goes into it?
Knowing who you are and having a good identity and a good goal, right? Yeah. With the Brewers Guild and just working with a lot of startups over the years, a lot of breweries, the founder's goal is to open, and that's it. So, opening was just a means to get us to where we want to go long term. Gotcha. And that's one measurement of success, but really having a vision on where you want to go long, over the next 5-10 years and what impact you want to the people and community around you is really important to keep pushing forward and not just say we're open, the beer tastes good, now what? Okay. Like what you want people to say about you when they come visit. Yeah, right? Totally. Yeah. Yeah, having that good reputation there. And let's talk about obviously the look and the feel. I think that's a big part of any business. So Shannon, I know you had that experience with marketing. You obviously, it's hard to miss this beautiful logo with the wildflower. I love that so much. Tell me about that, where that inspiration came from.
Absolutely. So Erik and I both grew up in East County, San Diego. And so for us, when we think of San Diego, when we think of home, we think of, the foothills and sagebrush and oak trees. And it's a very different look and feel than coastal San Diego, which is also just as wonderful. But because we grew up in the sort of area where we wanted to open our brewery, and we are both so inspired by and influenced by our natural surroundings, we really wanted to bring that into our branding and our sort of visual identity as a brewery. And so our logo is a wildflower. It's sort of a amalgamation of a few different wildflowers that we can see commonly in East County, San Diego. And people seem to really be drawn to it and are excited about it, which in turn makes us really happy and excited.
It definitely catches your eye, and it's lovely. It makes you feel good. As far as, that part of San Diego, we always talk about like microclimates on the news, and that's a big part. Hiking is a big part of our culture, camping, all of that. People do in San Diego and love it. And I think, it's more than beaches, right? Nothing against our beaches, because we love that too. But it's nice to have that part of San Diego represented and seen in that way. Tell me, as far as, your experience too, do you have another job?
I do. I have a full-time gig, and also working with the brewery. I work for a national nonprofit organization called the Center for Plant Conservation. Nice. So again, my love of nature also ties into my day job. We are, CPC is the hub of a network of botanical gardens and conservation organizations that are working collaboratively to prevent plant extinction in the United States.
Okay. And that's, a huge role to have, but somehow you're able to do that and, be part of the brewery.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been an adjustment, but I think one of our biggest lessons learned and that we're still learning is how to strike a balance between our sort of roles as business owners, my role as the director of communications with a nonprofit organization, and then, of course, our home life and, recognizing what's most important, of course, is our family and bringing that into the work that we do outside of the home.
It's impressive that you're able to do it. I can tell you just the family life alone takes up so much, of our energy.
It's harder work than at work.
Right.
But, it's funny to think that, even through White Labs and working with beer and working with plants that Shannon and myself, we don't have biology degrees, but we're working, with a lot of biologists and in those industries, which, beer is a living thing with yeast and, different ingredients as well. So we wanted to be a space and a brand that, a lot of craft beer, I think, turns people off because it can be very masculine and aggressive. And, a big component of what Good Pressure is very welcoming and, building a wide breadth of community. And so we wanted our branding, our colors, our words, the tactile experience you have in the tap room. It's not digital menus. It's, everything's very easy to understand and very real.
I like that. We're going to take a quick break here, but then when we come back, I want to talk more about this life as parents too, like how you're able to do it all, the balance that you talk about that's so important. So we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Keep it right here. Look at this. This is what we were talking about. The feeling that you get when you see this, the logo. I love this color. It's my favorite color, I will say. But Good Pressure Brewing, we were talking about the wildflowers, obviously influence you've had just being out in East County, hiking, enjoying nature at San Diego. And it says you can feel it in your cans, in your koozie as well. Lovely. Let's talk about the name before I forget. Good Pressure Brewing. Tell us where the name came from, how you came up with that.
Yeah, we wanted something that was forward thinking and a call to action. So
Okay.
Our tagline is let the pressure shape you. And Good Pressure is built to develop or encourage the type of person to connect with us that thrives under pressure, that sees that as a good thing in life and is willing to build themselves on difficulties.
Okay, that's great. And obviously making a beer involves some pressure, right?
Yeah, there's a nod to brewing as well. There's a lot of pressure involved.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I mean, the way, obviously for a lot of breweries, we always see, they have these massive warehouses and that must cost a lot. I mean, for me not knowing
San
much.
Diego especially.
Yeah, but property's precious around here. But you've been able to work out a way where you don't necessarily need this massive space, right? It's about that.
Yeah, we've got a partnership where we do some of our bigger batches, which is awesome. Allows us to can, allows us to do volume that's needed to sustain our tap room and our couple accounts. And then we have the ability to do some small one-off R&D stuff as well.
Nice. Okay.
And that scale and that flexibility of business model has allowed us to really make sure beer quality comes first. We also have a wine license, so we're working with a winery up in Lodi to get our wine program up and going. And
I love Lodi wine.
Yeah,
and the fact that you know Lodi wine, I mean, that means you know.
There's great vineyards up there, and we've got an awesome winemaker that we're working with, so we hope to announce more there.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about any of it, go to our website and sign up for our newsletter.
Okay, perfect. Also, you mentioned, I know earlier, about NA beer options too. Is that right? What do you have there?
Yeah, we bring in Athletic, which is another locally based brewery, and we have one of the kegs on the market that I've seen on tap, and we've got different soda options. We've got juice boxes for the kids. We've got hard seltzers. What's important to us is that people come in and feel comfortable, and the naming convention's very simple. It's a lot of it's based on the beer style. We've got Good Pressure Blonde Ale, which we call the hiking beer, Good Pressure IPA, and we don't want people to have to pull out their phone to look up what they're ordering.
Just I'm in the mood for this, and then hopefully that's what you have to say.
That experience is smooth and comfortable. Then they can worry about enjoying it and hang out with friends.
Right, and that's what we love about beer, just hanging out with friends, enjoying a good beer. Let's talk now about the family aspect, the balancing of it all. You have young kids. I mean, that's a lot to take on as it is. How do you do it? What do you guys do? Scheduling, is it crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It can certainly be a little chaotic, that's for sure. But I think like any relationship or partnership, communication is key. And so we've found even new and different ways to make sure that we're connecting with each other and we know what we have going on any given week, what the kids have going on. But really making sure that they feel included and a part of it too. And like Erik mentioned earlier, they're not always in the mood or interested, right now, but then they'll tell us stories about sharing with their friends about this new spot that mom and dad opened, and then their friends' families come and check it out. And so it's been really wonderful to see like their sense of excitement and pride in it too, and the way it's helping us, deepen our own community.
Yeah, we've had some teachers stumble in not knowing that our kid was in their class, and that was a funny experience.
That is funny. Play dates planned at Good Pressure. I feel like that would work for adults and for the kids.
Yeah, our lives with everything we balance is full of good pressures.
Yeah, no, that's fun. I figured out to communicate it all. The calendars need to sync, and that's I think parenting in general, right?
Absolutely, and I think in life in general, the timing is never going to be perfect for anything that you might want to embark on, and so we just felt like enough of the stars had aligned that now was the time that we could move forward and work to achieve this goal and dream that we had together.
Well, then tell me, I mean, now that you've been up and running for 6 months, what is the goal? What do you hope to see at your brewery? What do you want people to know?
This maybe isn't super quantifiable, but we hope that somebody comes in and celebrates their kid's first birthday, and then comes back in 10 years, and we see the same thing, our first date that turns into a wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So those are the measurements of success that, are a little harder to
It takes some time to see,
yeah.
But that's exciting. I got the chills just hearing that, because I mean that does happen in so many special places in San Diego, and you're now one of them. So that's awesome, and I'm sure you'll see that in a few years as more celebrations happen there. Is there anything else you guys both wanted to say and make sure we point it out?
Yeah, we put a lot of time into telling our story on social
Yeah.
media and our website. So Good Pressure Brew on Instagram is very active.
Yes.
We take a lot of pride in it, and goodpressurebrewing.com as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, they can sign up for our newsletter there, and we hope that they'll stop by our tap room in
Yeah,
Mission
that
Gorge.
too.
Yeah.
Yes. And stop by. Yeah. Follow and stop by. Tell us the address one more time if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's 7559 Mission Gorge Road,
Okay.
San Diego.
Okay. Right across from what is it? The Quarry right there.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. So
Can't miss it.
Yeah, you're right there. Perfect. Thank you both very much for sharing your story, for coming on. It's great to have you, and it's great to have you in town, opening
thanks
up
for
your
having us.
brewery. Yay. If you missed any part of this show, you can check it out at cbs8.com/brewing-local. Tune in next Monday at 10:30. Thanks for joining us.